Hi, Lois.
Hello, Haley. Happy summer.
Happy summer. It's so nice to see you. I feel like it's been
Yeah.
a while.
I know it has been a while. It's just been, I guess things, our schedules get busy even though it's
For
summertime
sure.
and it's just the way things roll. But so thank you. I think you did our last interview and you're doing today's interview too. So I owe
Right. Yeah.
you. I owe you one.
No, it's great. It's great to reconnect with you here. And the
Yeah.
conversations with our Women in Digital Award winners from 2025 have been so good. It's my pleasure to interview them. And we're
Yeah.
in for another great conversation today. So, welcome, everybody. And we're pleased to have Catalina Chan with us today. She was
Mhm.
the winner of one of our Women in Digital Awards last year.
Mhm.
So maybe let's bring Catalina on.
Hello.
Catalina,
Catalina.
joining us from
Hello.
the West Coast, our rare U.S. West Coast guest. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, and happy it's soon 4th of July in the Americas. So hope you have a great weekend coming up, and we're looking forward to maybe giving us a great conversation as we go into a great weekend.
To kick it off. Yeah, Lois, we'll see you at the end.
Okay, sounds good. See you soon.
Thanks. So, Catalina, I want to jump right into your professional journey. It's so fascinating, and you've accomplished so much over the last decade. So you are in a technology role with TriNet, and over the last decade, you've been responsible for a complete modernization of your go-to-market ecosystem. You started in sales operations, and you have grown in that role through automation and revenue operations and sales optimization, and you're really at the heart of embedding digital enablement throughout this ecosystem at TriNet. And during that time, there's been such a rapid change and evolution in technology. So I'm wondering if you can share with us a little bit about how you got started on that journey and what are some of the milestones that you achieved along the way, and how have you dealt with the rapid change of technology during that time?
Thank you. First and foremost, for those who are listening, my journey started before the first iPhone was released in the United States. So that was 20 years ago. Um, I was drawn to revenue operations because it sits at the intersection of strategy, process, technology, and customer engagement. Starting in sales operations gave me a deep understanding of how business processes, data, technology platforms, and frontline execution come together to drive growth. Over time, that foundation enabled me to lead broader modernization efforts across our go to market ecosystem. For me, the modernization journey has always been about technology and enabling growth, improving the customer and employee, and positioning the organization to respond faster in an increasingly dynamic market. It's the in terms of the milestone I've achieved, that's why I thought that it was an important to call out that before the iPhone was released in the United States, um, the the systems were fragmented, the data was fragmented, or processes, there were disparate systems, and frankly, when I first started, there was less than 300 employees. I That was really important to me because I've always wanted to work for a startup. They're considered startup, and and also with great complexity. It was also important to me about the kind of company that I want to work for. And TriNet is both service and technology platform, and
Hmm.
complexity is our friend. And so, and in its nature of the PEO industry, there's a lot of nuances in terms of the processes. So it's really important about how you transform your infrastructure, and also anticipate the needs of your customers. And so we looked at in the revenue operations, you look at the entire sales life cycle and everything that it touches. I also learned that time is currency in the sales organization. So for every administration that is non-selling, that is not related to actual being with a customer or a prospect, that is basically a loss in revenue or a missed opportunity for a consultant, to make their numbers. And so it is important to look at the different friction points in the process. And that involved working with various departments. So it wasn't about just technology within sales, but all of the different supporting departments, ensuring that they can also scale, because speed is important when you're competing with a prospect that is able to generate that proposal quicker than you can. You've lost that opportunity. So velocity is definitely important, but more importantly, how you guard that information in a meaningful way that is so streamlined is also crucial.
You're speaking my language. Sales operations is very close to my heart. You also, something unique about, I think, your role is that you work in a highly regulated industry. And so much of your efforts, I imagine, happen behind the scenes. And there's a unique risk profile for you. So I'm wondering how those circumstances have maybe um, changed or shaped your leadership strategies? And what advice would you have for our listeners who might be reluctant to take on such sensitive work?
In this industry, technology decisions carry a unique level of responsibility. Um, if you think about it, compliance is the product. While innovation remains critical, it must be balanced with rigorous compliance, strong security, operational resilience, and the trust our customers place in us. It has taught me that leadership is not about eliminating risk. It is about enabling informed and responsible decision making. I've worked to build a culture where teams are empowered to innovate while maintaining a deep respect for governance, controls, and accountability. It has also reinforced the importance of trust and judgment. Regulations evolve, business needs change, and there's really a playbook for every situation. I found that the best outcomes come from bringing together diverse perspectives and in strong cross functional partnerships rather than relying solely on process. For women considering technical roles in this space, my advice is this: don't underestimate the value of your perspective and judgment. High stakes environments can seem intimidating, but that is precisely where thoughtful leadership makes the greatest difference.
Hmm.
The ability to ask the right questions, challenge assumptions, navigate ambiguity, and build trust across stakeholders is just as important as technical expertise.
So, Catalina, your leadership is not only transforming the core systems in your go to market ecosystem, but really very directly tied to business outcomes and accelerating revenue results. Um, your work has been described as setting a high benchmark for the future of digital transformation, which I love. Talk about how you maintain that focus on accelerating and measuring business outcomes while prioritizing your technical aptitude and the projects that you undertake.
I have always believed that technology strategy must be anchored in business strategy. Technology only creates value when it advances a clear business outcome, whether that is revenue growth, customer retention, or risk reduction. Because of my background in revenue operations, I tend to look at the business at a different lens. What problems are we solving? What outcomes are we trying to improve? What metrics will tell us whether we are successful? And when prioritizing projects, focus on a few dimensions: business impact, customer or employee experience, risk, scalability, and implementation readiness. My role as a technology leader is to bridge the business and the technical teams to translate strategy into executable roadmaps and translate technical complexity into business value. It requires the discipline to say no or not yet when project does not align with the highest value outcomes. Ultimately, I view technology as a growth engine. The goal is not just to deliver platforms, it is to enable better decisions, faster execution, and stronger business performance.
Your peers have also pointed out that you are a huge champion for diversity and for women in technical roles and in technology. So, talk a little bit about why that is meaningful for you and give us some examples of how that has manifested itself over time in your career.
My motivation is rooted in both experience and responsibility. Throughout my career, I have seen firsthand how diverse perspectives strengthen decision making or improve outcomes and drive innovation. Representation matters not only
Mm.
because it expands opportunity, but because it leads to better business and technology decisions. For me, championing women in technology means ensuring that talent has the opportunity, that has access to opportunity, sponsorship, visibility, and the ability to contribute at the highest level. It is also a business imperative. Diverse teams challenge assumptions. They identify risk earlier and build solutions that better serve customers and employees. In technology where decisions can scale quickly and affect many people, that diversity of thought is essential.
Talk a little bit about how that championing of diversity and sounds like sponsorship and mentorship that you have incorporated into your career. How is that changing in the age of AI? What considerations are you making on your team and with the people that you're mentoring and the talent inside of your organization and elsewhere? What kinds of things are you doing to prepare them or support them in this new world?
Yeah. Um, Upskilling is definitely that we prioritize upskilling. And what I mean by that is we were purposeful in identifying specific disciplines,
Mm.
of what also not just about the framework, but also giving them the resources and the tools, to learn about agentic technology and not just learn it, right? That's why we have Sandbox where they develop a proof of concepts, right? Because it has to be, we want to see this potential value of a solution. Um, But as a team and all within in every single role, there are also various tools that one can leverage, because it has changed now of how, whether you're engineers or your analysts or your admins doing any configurations, there are various tools available out there that really advances their craft.
Mm,
So it isn't just about learning the concept, but rather the implementation of that. Um, it isn't your traditional deployment. Your traditional deployment, you have your clear requirements, is deterministic. You know what the outcome's going to be, but AI is probabilistic, right? And it requires the mindset of continuous learning, and that is really crucial. And even if you look at three different platforms and you prompt the same thing, most likely you will get different results. Or even if you're using the same platform when you're modeling, you're likely to get different results. And I think this is also an important part about that with agentic technology, the human in the loop, that it's important to differentiate that humans connect and AI scale. So
mm.
that, I think, in building solutions and upskilling, it isn't just about a technology platform. I would argue that um, the when you know your audience really well, the human connection part, when you anticipate those needs, and also again back to being diverse, people ask different questions. What's important to you might not be important to another, or it's a different question for a different person. So that is really crucial in bringing the talent together. And they're also learning from one another, because what we've also done in terms of an environment of the tools and resources is we basically have a task force where they're sharing challenges or their successes, because when we do that, we also are able to accelerate on our deployments.
Thank you for that. Um, it sounds like your organization is not unlike other organizations in the AI journey in terms of experimentation, upskilling, learning. Um, what do you see on the horizon with respect to the way that technology is changing in response to AI developments, and particularly being able to tie those efforts, that learning, to what you've so successfully done over the last 10 years, real business outcomes? What do you think is the next horizon for us here?
I think it's always important, irrespective of what technology is disrupting the world, that you're grounded with your principles in your purpose. For us, it's always about the customer. So AI trust is something that we take to heart, right?
Mm,
And so the because of that, there's definitely a rigorous process for us to vet every single use case, and then fully tested, and then there's also a phased approach in how we meaningfully release. There's We want to walk before we run. We want the human in the loop to ensure accurate, responses from the agents that we build, because it speaks to the trust that your customers has placed in you. We also live in a world where time is of the essence, and what customers really want is an answer to their problem or to their inquiry accurately in the most effective way. And I think what the agentic technology has changed is the successes that we've had. It definitely shows that consumers um, gravitating towards that immediacy of the accuracy, because
mm,
they could be we're a company where it could be 24/7, where perhaps a CEO was working late at night and just wanted an answer, and And we have a platform that can help him with that inquiry, right? But there's also, I think, the seamlessness of any technology that you have. It isn't a replacement of a colleague. It's really an augmentation. It's a workforce
Mm.
multiplier. I think what AI, the agentic technology, how is this disrupting the industry is the balance of the operational efficiencies, but also more importantly, that the seamlessness of that customer interaction, because we take that to heart. The we Everything that we do, the customer is the center of the design, the approach, the implementation. So it's really crucial how engineers and how, when they're developing the solution, always anticipate the needs of the customer. The one thing that's really not often seen in the success of a technology is that when you don't have any defects or bugs, right? It's not necessarily celebrated because that's just expected. But now more than ever with the genetic technology, and how it's advancing in days, not even in weeks or months. And so continuous learning is really crucial, and curiosity is really crucial to make a lasting and a sustainable approach. And that discipline, I think, will take any organization into a more seamless implementation.
Well, I think that's a good segue to the question from our previous guest. So, Antra Malhotra was on with me last week, and she has a question for you. So, I'm going to read it to you. Her question is: how has your definition of leadership evolved as you've moved across different tech functions, from revenue operations, sales operations, to now leading the technology function? And what skills from your background in revenue and sales operations have been your biggest advantage as you've moved into the technology space?
Um, Earlier in my career, I thought leadership was largely about execution, solving problems, delivering results, and making operations run more effectively. Those things still matter, but my view of leadership has expanded. Today, I see leadership as the ability to create clarity in complexity, align people around shared direction, and build the environment for others to succeed. My background in revenue operations has been one of my biggest advantages in technology. It gave me a deep understanding how the business actually works, how revenue is generated, where friction exists, how frontline teams operate, and how data, process, and systems influence performance. That operational grounding helps me connect technology decisions to real business outcomes. The other advantage is strong bias towards measurable outcomes. Revenue operations are highly metric driven environments.
Hmm.
That foundation has shaped how I lead technology initiatives with clear success metrics and focus on value realization.
I love that definition of leadership. That was such a good description. I'm going to have to go back and write that down after the episode is finished. Um, our next guest is Madhusmita Patil, and she'll be joining us in a couple of weeks. Do you have a question for Madhusmita?
Yeah, I do. Hello, Madhusmita. Your distinguished career and the impact you've made over 21 years at IBM are truly impressive. With AI reshaping the technology landscape and redefining career paths, I'd love to hear your perspective on how women can strategically position themselves to lead in the AI era, not just adopt it. And what skills or mindsets will give them a competitive advantage as the industry continues to advance.
What a great question. And I hope Madismita is listening, but we'll make sure she gets that question. And I look forward to her answer in a couple of weeks. Let's maybe bring Lois back on.
That was a great question. Thank you. In fact, I was jotting some things down because I'll be speaking to her in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait to hear her answer to that as well. So thank you for that question. And thank you also. There's something that I really loved the fact that you focused on the individualized value that women can bring to their roles and how our unique perspectives are very
I'm
important
not
to
able to
that.
hear
And
her.
that's okay. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you, Lois. No worries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just wanted to say how much that really was great to hear. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciated the conversation.
Catalina, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. What a great conversation. And I hope you have a great long weekend. Get to take some time off over this holiday in the US. And same to you, Lois. We'll see everybody next time.
Sounds
Thank you all
great.
and happy 4th of
See
July.
you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.